you everybody for coming. I'm Derrick Johnson. I've been lifting for 17 years. I started at the age of 12 at this gym in the St. Louis area. It was like this inner city gym for kids in that area. It was the first of its kind, and they had basketball in there, they had weightlifting in there. I was like, you know what? I like both of those things. Let me keep doing them. Then that eventually turned into me doing like competitions and going across the country, and then making international trips later. And I always tell people, just take it one step at a time. So even when I started lifting, I didn't hook grip for the first 4 years. So I'm a little bit behind in my competition. I didn't make hip contact for the first 3 years because I was never taught that. I didn't squat until the first 3 years. So it was like all power snatches, no hip contact. The first time I hook grip was when I went to the training center where there was 20 other athletes hook gripping. My thumbs were burning because those were mainly hook grip. So all these things were happening. But how I was able to learn and start winning like the 16, 17 and under championships is because I studied other lifters. You know what, at our gym, it's more about having fun with just this after school program. So there's no expectations for us. However, I don't want to show up at national meets and have these guys beating me. And so now I would just study, I would go to meets and, this guy's, he's making hip contact. He's able to drop under it. So now I'm doing all these things just from watching and just trying to learn from these other guys. And I end up being successful with it and start going to camps, start learning even more, and now here I am 17 years later. But in the process, I've had just injuries and things like that from this style of training, or some of the styles of training that we use. Anyway, so back problems probably started at 16 years old. I'm 29 years old. 2 knee surgeries. I had my first knee surgery at 20 years old, so that was 9 years ago. I had another one in 2011, a year before the Olympics. And now, and you'll see with these seminars, I have all these exercises on the board. And these exercises help with warm-ups, they help with core activation, they help with glute activation, they help with opening up the mid-back or the thoracic area there. And why do I put these in my seminars? Because these are the things that are going to protect the joints. When athletes run into injuries, it's because they run into an injury around the joint. It doesn't matter if we're talking about weightlifting, CrossFit, or basketball players. Knee injuries take people out. Back injuries take people out. Injuries around the shoulder joints. So all these things I want to protect. If we activate our core before the workout, now my back is more protected. Now when I'm doing a lift or any type of movement, my core is activated and it's doing all the work instead of my back. Back injuries are a very common injury in weightlifting. Very common. If I activate my glutes, now when I'm squatting, I don't have to use my quads as much. Now my quads are not pulling on my knee, pulling on my calves, which could tighten up my ankles, cut off my ankle mobility. It could cause knee injuries. In my case, that's exactly what happened. In women, you'll see a lot of hip injuries, hip impingements, and injuries through that area. So that's what happened when your glutes are not functioning. You can also have back injuries from the glutes not being activated and not functioning. The causes of our glutes shutting off could be tight hip flexors and tight quads. And so you can start walking and your glutes are going to cut off because, I'm sorry, if you sit down after too long, your glutes will cut off. So things like that. And so that's why at my seminars, you're going to see it. Everything is about protecting the joints. Protecting the joints. When you lift weights, it's all about moving them as efficiently as possible. It's not that you're trying to have the prettiest technique, but the most efficient way to lift is going to be the best way to protect your joints. So it doesn't matter. We could be talking about basketball or football, the Kobe Bryant or Tim Duncan in particular, since we're here in Texas. But his fundamentals are so good that he's not exhausting himself every single play. His footwork is so good. So in weightlifting, I can lift 20 years because I'm moving it as efficiently as possible to go along with activating things and protecting the joints on that end.